Congratulations on getting this far in the game. This is Horizon Shield, bringing you a boss breakdown for the Hollow Knight. This video will break down what we have to fight him with, his moveset and how to dodge each attack, when we can heal during the fight, and then how to bring it together to beat him. So let's make it easy. So what are we bringing to the fight? Walking into the final boss, I hope you have everything. 9 total health, 3 extra soul vessels, max nail upgrades, and all 11 charm notches. All the charms in the world, and several different ways to play. Keep in mind that Radiance comes directly after this fight if you choose to fight her, so keep that in mind if it happens to affect your charms. There are several different charm builds you can use. It may require some experimenting on your part to find out what you like in this fight. So what do I use? I decided that Shaman Stone, Spell Twister, Quick Slash, and Mark of Pride are going to be my go-to in this fight. The spells are going to be worth their weight in Geo by the time this fight is over, and I wanted to emphasize that. Mark of Pride can be swapped out since it's primarily a comfort charm. That means I don't have to get as close to doing the damage I want. It's what I will eventually swap out for Fragile Strength later on. Now it's time to tango. So on to the fight. What can the Hollow Knight actually do? The Hollow Knight has a total of 4 phases, or 3 depending on if you're fighting Radiance afterwards. But the 4th phase is a pity phase, so it isn't really a big deal. The fight starts with 3 moves and adds more each phase, eventually getting to a total of 10 moves. Don't worry, not all of these are attacks, and you might not even see all of the moves depending on how your fight goes. The first phase starts as you break his chains, and the intro tells you that he is indeed the Hollow Knight. He begins with 3 different moves. The first move is a lunge. He telegraphs it by crouching down with his nail pointed at you. Dodge this attack by jumping over him. You can even pogo his head as he passes under you to deal damage. If you chase to his finishing location, you can get a second nail swing in as well. An alternative is to dodge and then shade soul him. A third is to chase and then D-Dark on top of him. He is very vulnerable to damage in almost any way you want, but be careful that you respond to his next attack as it can come quite quickly. The second move is a triple slash. This move is going to be the bane of your existence in this fight. The telegraph is him raising his nail behind him and away from the ground. This telegraph is beyond fast, and he starts swinging immediately after he shows it. The fast telegraph is the reason this fight is tough. Every other attack is fairly easy to deal with. This attack is going to cover over a third of the arena, and you cannot run away from it consistently. There are technically 2 ways to dodge this: jump over it, or dodge through him. Dodging through him is tricky though. If you aren't close enough to him when you start the dash, you will end up hitting his hitbox as you come out of the iframe. So the preferred way to dodge this is to jump over it. You can either jump and pogo, or jump and then dash over it. My preferred method is to jump and then pogo the Hollow Knight's head and or nail, making the tink sound. When you start your jump, start jumping away from him to give yourself extra time and to not run into the swing as he does it. Don't swing wildly as you go over, or you will fall back onto his head and get hurt. You cannot do a regular jump over the swing, as he hits you with the backswing if you don't attack or dash properly. It's going to take some time to practice, but it's probably the biggest struggle in the entire fight. The third move is his parry. He parries just like Hornet did before. He moves his nail in front of him at an angle. It's easy, just don't swing into it. If you do hit it, I recommend dashing backwards or even through him. There's a high chance of getting hit if you dodge too soon, so just try not to swing at it if you can avoid it. The easiest way to do this is by only attacking after he does an attack for 1 or 2 swings, and then wait. If he telegraphs his own attack, dodge. If not, feel free to swing again. He is vulnerable for a single swing after he lowers his nail. It's possible for this swing to make him immediately do another parry, so don't swing your heart out unless you want to get smacked. I'm also going to point out that the Hollow Knight has a jump to close the distance to the knight, and it is entirely possible that he will land on you and deal damage, so be careful about running away to heal. he eventually goes into his second phase. It's not a visible phase, but he does gain 2 new attacks. The first attack is a diving flame pillar. The Hollow Knight either jumps or teleports into the air and then slams straight down. Pillars of fire shoot up after a brief pause. These pillars are not predetermined spots, but they are predetermined in their spacing from the Hollow Knight. Meaning, if you stand a little more than one of his nail swings away, you should be in a good spot not to be hit. Remember that this spacing never changes. If you don't want to do a simple dodge, you can always D-Dark as he's coming down to be able to iframe through one of the pillars. Depending on where you're standing when he telegraphs the attack, it might be a better option for you. If you aren't sure where the pillars will appear, just D-Dark and you should be fine through the entire animation. The next attack he brings in this phase is a barrage. He will stand still and launch blobs of infection at you, starting from the ground, continuing into the air. If you stand directly in front of him, your best bet is to dash through him. It is also possible to jump immediately to get above him as well. If you are far enough away from him, just dash through the infection with the Shade Cloak. It may require some fancy footwork, but it's not too bad as long as you remember to dash through and not away. If you want to do damage, you're going to need to either get close enough to swing the nail, which can either be in front or behind depending on how you dodge, or D-Dark when you are above him after you jumped over the attack. I prefer to jump and D-Dark as it does more damage and is a more consistent way to dodge, in my opinion. The third phase will start when the Hollow Knight does a scream similar to the introduction and then starts to stab himself. In this phase, he keeps all of his moves and gains 3 new ones, although he seems less likely to use his lunge and triple slash. The first move is Contrition. This move is used in the phase transition of stabbing himself repeatedly. All of your damage of any attack is reduced to 1 during this time, so this is the time to heal if you need to do so, as well as generate soul from the hits you can get in. The second move is his Bouncing Balloon. He starts floating in the air and then bounces up and down 3 to 5 times. He actively tracks the knight's position and will try to lead you to be able to hit you with a slam. So to dodge this attack, start moving one way, and when he is about to slam, start running back the other way. There isn't a whole lot of room for retaliation during this attack, as the bounce lands very close to you and the entire animation is very quick. While it is possible to do an Abyss Shriek and attack while he is in the air, you are more than likely going to get hit if you attempt it. The third attack is called Outbreak, a nasty little attack having the Hollow Knight spew blobs of infection everywhere. Try to stick close to him on either side, and stick to a small space and go left or right of the area to dodge. Try not to move around too much or you might end up running into the blobs. Honestly, this attack is rare enough you may not see it. Out of the 25 fights I've edited into this video, I saw this move a total of 3 times, not including the one I recorded specifically to capture this attack. It's not a big deal to deal with these waves individually. Just make a comfy spot and try to stick to it as best you can. If you have the Void Heart you need to fight Radiance, the fight will end right here. Otherwise, the fourth phase starts with a severely weakened Hollow Knight. In this phase, he will lose all of his attacks except for his Bouncing Balloon and 1 new attack. Kind of new. You already know it though. The new attack is called Deterioration. The Hollow Knight will attempt to swing his nail, but then fall to his knees. It's well telegraphed, and you should feel familiar with it because it's only the first swing of his triple slash we discussed earlier. So just go ahead and put him out of his misery. If the worst happens and we get hit, when can we heal? There are a few times to heal in this fight, but remember the golden rule of only healing once per opportunity or else you may have a rough time. As with most bosses, the easiest time to heal is during his stagger. It is also possible to heal during the contrition, aka when he stabs himself. Honestly, that's about it for safe healing in this fight. If you try to run away and heal, there is a chance he will either jump or teleport above you for an attack, so I wouldn't really advise it. So how do we bring it together to finish the fight? This fight can be a stopping point for many at the end of the game. He is a boss that doesn't have a good counterpart of similarities to other bosses because of his size and speed of his attacks. His attacks need to be prepared for before they even happen. So a few tips. Try not to stand directly in front of him if you can avoid it after you finish your couple of hits. Get your attacks in after he finishes moves and then back away. This gives you time to react if you're not confident in handling his moveset. To not get hit by anything after every attack, jump backwards in preparation. It gives you time to see his attack as well as a preemptive start if he does either the triple slash or the barrage. Remember to use your soul for either a Shade Soul or for a Descending Dark fairly often during this fight. If you D-Dark directly over him, you are going to be doing the most damage. It also gives you iframes to protect you from all of his attacks. After you do a D-Dark, be sure to dash out from inside of the Hollow Knight after you land if you happen to still be inside of his hitbox. He often starts an attack facing one direction while you still have iframes, and it's possible to dodge to the other side to avoid it and still get free attacks in while it happens. Congratulations on beating Hollow Knight. If you ended after this fight, I hope you enjoyed this wonderful game. Otherwise, I'll be seeing you in the next fight. If this was helpful, feel free to like and subscribe to see me break down the rest of the bosses in Hollow Knight. Until then, happy hunting.